This is the Sony VAIO E-series laptop, and there's no hiding from the fact that visually it looks very different from the conventional boring laptop designs that we see in this price bracket. When I talk about the price bracket, this VAIO is available for around 55,000 rupees box price, and it truly doesn't look that much. It looks a lot more expensive than the price actually suggests. And trust us when we say that it actually feels a lot more expensive than it actually is. To start off with the visual element, on the sides you can see this red stripe as well as on the lid. This runs around 3 sides of the laptop. As you can see, this just adds a different visual element to a laptop. Now Sony seems to have done away with those enamel and glossy colored finishes to the entire laptop, but this looks really subtle yet very classy and a little sporty. The most defining visual element is not the red stripes around the laptop. It's actually the fact that the lid is slightly smaller than the base it sits on. Now essentially it's not a bad thing, it's not a good thing, it's just a visually different thing. We don't mind it at all. On the top is a nice matte finish, black in color. It's not exactly matte because you can see a bit of fingerprints around here, but still it's not as glossy or shiny as some of the other laptops do, so it won't catch any scratches or dust like the others do. Less maintenance requirement there. Open it up, the same matte black thing continues around the keyboard. There's a different color theme here. It's kind of blending in well, the silver and the black. The red stripes continue around here as well. You can see the red stripe around the touchpad, and you can see that the keys are also encircled with the same red. The backlighting accentuates that red when the backlighting comes on around the keypad. Inexplicably, most laptops now seem to be doing away with any sort of quick access keys, assistance keys, whatever you may like to call it. Sony is kind of bringing that back into fashion with a bunch of 3 keys here. We'll explain that in detail in the text review, what they do, how they can be configured. One of them actually can be configured. Let me just say that right now. The Mac styled disk eject key is here. Well, if you can't really call it Mac style, but yeah, that's what you remember of first. Essentially, when we were using this keypad, it is very easy to get used to the layout of this keypad and get used to the travel, the feel and the kind of package that's on offer here. The only little niggle that I had was that there's a little bit too much travel for every key, so typing tends to become a little slower until you get used to the extra travel. The touchpad, it's not very big, but it's slightly wider than what we see on most laptops. The response offered is pretty consistent and pretty sure throughout. The right and the left click keys are not separate, they're integrated, which we don't really like. We would prefer separate keys, but it's okay because they're probably trying to compress in a lot more here in this form factor. The area here for your palms to rest while you're typing is more than adequate, and since it's not glossy, it's not really slippery even though your palms may be sweaty on a hot, warm summer day here. Overall, this laptop isn't very thick, it isn't very thin. This laptop is powered by a Core i5 processor, the Sandy Bread 2nd gen version, 2.5 GHz. 4 gigs of RAM. It has got a dedicated graphics card, the AMD Radeon 7670M, as well as the Intel HD 3000. It's a dual switchable graphics. It's got 4 USB ports, out of which 2 are USB 3.0 and 2 are USB 2.0, as well as HDMI out and an Ethernet port, as well as a memory card slot up front.